Yeah, it looks better. Looks better. You've been working on it. Good for you. Good. Good. Maybe a little bit less of a loop on your one. Just let it go straight back up.
Straight
a
up.
little bit to the right. A little bit to the right. But not you. You feel yourself doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't have to do that, especially in this legato thing. It can be pretty much straight lines and mostly arm. Just make sure you keep moving, because every once in a while you'll stop in there. Just keep it nice and flowing and continuous.
Okay.
Looks better already. Now, keeping that going while you're doing your cueing, I know, is a trick.
Okay.
And when you do your cues, not so much with your arm, just, yeah, it can be a lot more subtle, especially at this tempo and with these dynamics. So, dee da da dee da dee doo dee. It can be relatively subtle. Do it once more, please. Coordinating the cues. Your beat pattern was kind of all over the place. You caught up a couple times. That was good. But here's a good drill to help with this. You can have a seat.
Okay.
Okay. Good job. So here's the drill. Yay! So here's the drill. Cue on consecutive beats every bar. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do 2. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go backwards. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So do that. It'll get you used to, one, keeping your pattern consistent, because the tricky part here is making sure that your pattern stays the same, and that when you cue, your pattern doesn't kind of go wonky. So it should be the consistent thing, and the cues should look different. So that's what you want to do. That's that drill. So I would suggest that. It'll get you used to keeping the pattern consistent. Because that's right now that's what's going on. Okay? Jennifer. No, Jenna's over there. You're Sarah. Make your pattern just a little bit smoother here, and this legato should be real creamy and smooth back and forth. Not quite so much ictus. So less ictus, and it could be even, yeah, it could be a pretty small pattern here for this particular style and dynamic level. When you do your cue, don't go out. Keep your pattern, or keep your cues inside your little box here where you're conducting. Force your performers to come and look at you. You don't need to go out. You don't need to go out to them. So your cue should be right in here. It can be right there. You don't have to go out. Okay. Make sure that you and they can be kind of a subtle gesture at this tempo and dynamic too. So do it once more, please. So lots to think about. I understand. Hands up just a little bit higher to start. There you go. make sure that it's real obvious. And yeah, you just be real demonstrative.
Okay.
It can't just be a look and a tiny little gesture. We need to really be able to see it. In addition, I'd like you to cue when the sopranos and the altos start their second phrases. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 5. So it starts over again in 5. So give them another cue. Don't forget, folks, everything that you do as a conductor, you need to prepare, and this includes your cues. So if your hand comes up at the last minute, it's not going to be as effective. As a performer, this is what I like to see. I like to see the conductor looking at me a couple of beats before, and then a lot of eye contact, and the hand ready. So you prepare your cues the same way you prepare your beats. Do you mind doing it again? Mm-hmm. Of course you don't. And if you can get these, that'd be great.
Okay.
Just start them over again, and there you go. Hands up just a bit. Your hand cue can be a little bit more subtle and not quite so emphatic, and just a tap, especially the piano here. So you can just go with a little up, and then you're right there instead of or quite so much. Start your pattern again, and let me just show you what I'm talking about with a little bit less emphasis. So especially on your downbeat, everybody's going. Does that feel a little bit different?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a little bit less wrist, and really you're giving us quite a big downbeat. So it's piano. We don't want that, so we want a soft attack, right? Okay, yeah, just make the pattern look commensurate with what you're expecting from your group. Good job. Okay, here we go. Turned over just a little bit more so that you're giving us that little tap, like you're tapping on somebody's head. Okay, good. Right. So, but generally very good. I think maybe just a little bit with the chin would help us on the entrance with the head, but good eye contact and good prep. Do you want one more?
Sure.
Come up and in just a little bit more for your prep instead of right here.
Okay.
So a little bit more obvious. You just think of it as a 4. Mm-hmm. 4 up and in. Good. put it against your stomach or something light. Let's just kind of get it out of the way. Your deal is your pattern goes away when you're cueing. Your pattern turns into this back and forth. You probably don't even realize it. No. When you're doing your cueing, it's like it's just kind of a little rocker thing here. So working with that drill that I talked about, where your pattern always looks the same, and you're cueing on different beats. That's something to work on. Try it one more time. I'd like to see your prep come up and in just a little more so we can tell it's a prep and there's a little bit of more size to it. Okay. Go ahead and start with both hands turned over with your thumb and forefinger, just for now, and we'll cue like that, okay? Hands a little bit higher, please. Okay, so let's work on the prep. Show me some of your starting position. Maybe a little, since we're coming up and in, you need to leave yourself a little bit of room. There you go. Yep, up and in. Make sure that it's commensurately the same. It's the same size as your pattern once you get into it. So you're thinking 1, 2, 3. Here's your prep. Hands higher. There you go. That's okay. Like I said, your pattern kind of goes out the window when you have to do something extra. So that's your little assignment, is working on that drill so that the pattern becomes a little more automatic, because right now it doesn't look like it is. It immediately goes into kind of a 2 thing when you start cueing. You're going to your right and coming back up. Just work on that. Okay. Yay! First couple of cues were real good. And then panic set in. I think your hands are, left hand's a little higher. There you go. Giving us left-hand cues for sopranos and altos. Looks like maybe a baton cue you're intending for the tenors, and then the head cue for the basses. It just needs to be a little bit more emphatic, especially the baton cue. Right. It's hard to differentiate when your left hand is cueing and when it's just mirroring. So the key is to hold it still before you give the cue. So if you're going to cue them, you go cue and cue. Right, and 1, 2, cue. Your head accompanying your baton cue will help your performance also. Right. At least looking at it, raising your eyebrows, all kinds of stuff will help. So try it, and then once your left hand's done cueing, get rid of it. Right. Just for effectiveness. That way, when it comes up, it's like, hey, something's about to happen. All right. Once more from the top, please. Much nicer. With your baton, I think you can, along with your head, which worked out great. I think you can do a little bit more with your baton, just in a move. Your first cue is very nice with the left hand, like that. make the second one look the same way for the alto. So da, 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 da. Make sure it's up early enough and it's not just a sudden, in other words. So the first one's good. It's, it goes D, da, da, D. Make sure the second one looks, it should look pretty much the same. It looks a little hurried right now, and that's what we're getting. It's D, da, da, D, da. See the difference? Mm-hmm. D, da, da, D, da, D, da. Okay? All right, excellent. Nice side pattern. I really like that. That's a piano go. That's okay, go ahead. So you're going to need to get out of the habit of going forward every time you do this. So you don't necessarily want to do it with your body every time, and the big gesture unnecessary. Okay. You can really do it all with your baton. The left hand's just a little addendum, so don't lean forward. We don't need you to do that, and you're working too hard, basically. In addition, just show me your basic pattern. Not quite so much snap. Yeah, just a little bit less thick. Just for this legato, just need mostly arm, a little bit of wrist on there. That's better. Okay, that's looking good. Your hand, when you were cueing us with your left hand, was actually kind of down here. You're really kind of only doing this. So we need a little bit more than that. So we need a 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're going to give us the head, was it a baton cue for the tenors?
I tried, yeah, but
okay.
It turned into kind of a
So,
double,
so they're in on 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go out towards them a little bit, and give them. That's the key to the baton cue, is going towards the performer just a speck, and a little bit more of a little bit bigger gesture on the beat. Right. Want to try it once more time?
Yes.
Please. We're getting much more with your left hand. That's great. Now don't go out towards us. Just tap us on the head. Tap. Yeah. Tap. Okay. Okay. Do the same thing.
Still?
Yeah, you're still going.
So you just want like a downward motion?
Yeah, it should just be down. It's just right there.
Okay. Right.
Pretty much. And you can go out a little bit as you're looking at the performer, but you don't need to. You don't need to do this.
Yeah.
You're just tapping them on the head. You're not combing their hair.
Okay.
We'll start with your hand. There you go. And make sure they're the same. That's good. Okay, now you're good.
Really want to cue them 2 beats
when you're
before.
leaning for the first 2 cues, but your baton cue and your head cue.
Yeah.
I know you felt like you needed to add that.
I keep trying to cue the tenors 2 beats before they come in. So.
That's okay. I understand that, but it's the leaning. Well, you'll see it. You'll see it on there. It's just something to get out of the habit of doing, and just your hand can go over there.
Okay.
2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Need a brace.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Put yourself in a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing.
Might end up there anyway.
You never know. We're since it's been known to drive conductors crazy.
I need a skiing accident is what I need.
Eat the oboe section with a nice fava bean.
Oh, jeez. I think we already drive ourselves mad.
Well, we were not together with you. In all fairness to you, let's do it one more time. Some of us were actually looking at the cues, and we came in early.
Oh,
because
sorry.
you
I
cued
know.
us.
I got lost.
Okay.
1, 3, 3, 1. Yeah.
No problem. When you cue over here, I don't think you need to use your left hand. You can forego that altogether and give him a cue with your baton, even the first time.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable doing, but when you turn away from us completely, it's probably
Okay.
probably lose.
Yeah, because it's hard. To move all the way
I know it is. Yeah, and that's why you don't need to worry about your left hand. I think you can keep your left hand up for the first two cues. They're so close together.
Okay.
So ba da da dee.
Okay.
Okay, that was really pretty good. Make sure your pattern is just a little bit smaller. We're basically piano here.
Oh, yeah.
So keep it a little bit small. I know it's easy to get it big when your left hand gets in there. That's kind of a natural thing. Watch the tendency to go
out, yeah.
To go out just a little bit, but that's good. And the just beat your pattern a little bit. Just a pattern. It could be a lot smaller.
Okay.
A little bit less wrist. That's it. That's nice. And cue on one for me. So instead of flopping your hand, just tap with this. Tap with this. And tap. There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Nice. Good. So nice applauding for everybody. I think that's really good. It's like, yeah, huh? No, they don't.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Really good, really good. Start one more time for me, and let me remind myself what I thought right at the beginning. From the top. Okay. The cues are very effective. At this tempo and at this dynamic level, I think you're going to get a little bit more than you're looking for in the attack. So just soften it a little bit. It just means a little bit less wrist, so that there's less.
Okay.
Grip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Still kind of getting it can be not quite so short. So just looking for D da da D. Sorry. D. It it should look kind of like your baton. You know, in legato.
Okay.
In legato, you don't really need to give us a lot of wrist. You can just give us a kind of a gentle D, da, da, D. So that's what I'm looking for in your left hand. D, da, da, D, da, D. Yeah, so your left hand can look like that. Really, it's in effect, for the cue, it's joining your right hand for a moment.
Okay.
D, da, da, D. Sorry, I didn't do that right. D, da. But it looks really good. Do it once more, please. Good, you'll see it on the tape.
Okay.
It's probably just a little bit more than you even think you're doing.
Okay.
And the pattern itself can be just a little smoother, but very effective. If you're going to give us head cues, just looking at us isn't quite enough. We need a little indication.
Okay.
Think of it as moving with your hand.
Okay.
You know, so up and down. And same with your baton. It just needs to go out just a little bit more and give us just a little extra for that one thing. It should look a little different on that one beat that you're cueing.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. You got to get warm, huh?
Yeah.
Very nice. I prefer, you probably don't realize you're doing it, but you're
I know. I'm trying. I'm getting there.
yeah, I know. So that's just something to practice for you, is that one little gesture. Do it once more. Very effective, nice and done with the head cues. Try it once more, and make yourself try the thumb and forefinger thing.
Okay.
I know. This comes naturally, huh?
Yeah.
Who's your teacher?
Claytor. So
Okay.
it's a lot of choral, and he was like conduct like this.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's a little bit different. I mean, first of all, most choral conductors don't even use a baton, so that's a different.
Yeah, it was always an option.
Was it?
Yeah.
Very good. Good. Very nice. Very nice. And well done with your left. Good. Good. Okay, let's turn over to our second example that we were going to look at today, which we obviously aren't going to have time to do much with. But let's go through it and mark it, and then I'll conduct it for you once, and we'll get to it. Any questions about the one we just finished? We'll do some more cueing later, but I also wanted to get to this other thing, if we could do it, and it seems that we are able. The Beethoven presents a bunch of different options or challenges for conducting. The first of all of which is the contrast in styles. So we've got the nice marcato, staccato at the beginning, and then in the second bar, you have a deadbeat and then a syncopation gesture. Everybody study the deadbeat? The deadbeat. I saw him this morning down in the corner, just lounging. So everybody understand basically what that is? Yeah, it's a passive gesture. It's an indication of the beat, but with no expectation that anybody's going to do anything. So in the second bar, it would look like this. It would look like 1, ba-dee-da-da, 1, da-dee-da-da. So it's just kind of barely there, but it's an obvious indication that the time is continuing. Going on, then we've got a little syncopation gesture, which is a little extra oomph to the third beat to make sure that the entrance on the offbeat happens in time. In addition, it's a change in style and dynamics. If you don't have your score marked up with all this stuff, you really should. In the first bar, I've got the length of the first note indicated to make sure that everybody gets a little bit of breath between the dotted quarter and that next 16th note pickup into 3. Ba, ba-da, 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 da-dee-da-da. And then into the legato, piano, all the way through there. And please note that in the fourth bar, you want to conduct that. We want to conduct that crescendo. Da-da. And the two ways that we want to indicate that are
with the hand raising, and then as the pattern needs to get bigger.
That's right. Very good. So we want to pull the hand up a little bit and make your pattern get bigger at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. So something to practice. Back into the little staccato figure in the 5th bar, and likewise in the 6th bar, like the 2nd bar, get the dead beat with the sync gesture, and back into the legato. Now, in bar 8, got something a little bit different. This is where all that practice comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And if you can pull your beat pattern size along with your hand, that'll work. Do, do, do. So that's a tricky gesture, but it just takes repetition. All this stuff is like learning how to hit a tennis stroke or whatever. It's a physical thing, and it's repetition, and you only have to do about 10,000 hours of practice, and you'll be an expert. That's what they say, anyway. Also, just a little side note. After listening to an example of this someplace on YouTube or something, I like to put down the instrumentation on the excerpt that we have in our book here, just to give me an indication of where I'm going to have to look. For example, in this Beethoven thing, the strings come in and then they're answered by the woodwinds. That's kind of a general thing.
But the woodwinds aren't like in this.
Pardon?
The woodwinds aren't in this score. Like I was listening to it, the woodwind thing is not like written into this production.
Yeah. No, not as much. Yeah, they have to simplify it a lot for these things. So going on, in measure 9, we got a little change in style, which is indicated by the slur with the staccatos. Everybody's familiar with that marking, right? So a little bit of a separation, but not completely. For strings, it's easy. They just get to stop their bow occasionally. Yep. And for the rest of us, we have to pretend that we're stopping and doing staccato and legato at the same time. And the conductor can actually help with that. The gesture for that, which is kind of neat, is a little bounce lilt. It's not as short as staccato, but it's not as long as legato, and it looks like this. Do, do, do. So you're continuing to move, and there's a little bounce. Do, 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 do. So if you can do that, if you want to work on that, that's a plus. Big extra credit for that. So it's a little light staccato thing. And then in the next bar, I like to indicate, this is bar 10, last bar on the second line. I like to indicate a little bit of an accent on one. Dee-da, and then a phrase off on 3. Some of the, as you know, some of the accompanying figures are continue with the staccato, but the melody is dee-da, bum, bum. And then there's a little sync gesture there to help the melody with that pickup. Same kind of phrase happens in bar 12, same kind of phrase happens in bar 13. So working on those, you want a little accent, bring the size of your beat pattern down to indicate the phrasing. And that's something we'll work more consistently on this semester. phrasing. You can do a lot with that. There's another really good example in this chapter to work on phrasing. We'll probably go back and do it. Any questions through here? In addition, I got the harmonic realization at the bottom, which is another really useful way to really know a score, is to go through and figure out the chords and the figured bass and that kind of stuff. It's very helpful in memorization too. Yeah.
When like you get to like measure 10,
Mm-hmm.
do you want us to get some type of like a look to the altos and the tenors to help with that entrance of going?
That would be useful.
Like any kind of cue we want is now like fair game now. That those
Yep.
are, like, included.
Yep, absolutely. And that your head is probably a good way to do it. G, da. But it gets to be really tough when you've got so much stuff going on to really do it. It's probably enough to conduct the main idea of the bar and be aware of what else is going on and help them if you find that they need help.
Right.
So that's a good way to look at it. Any questions about this? We'll pick this up on Tuesday and start with it. I will let you know. Have a good weekend. Yes, sir.
Is this all that's assigned for Tuesday?
Ha-ha.
Is the quiz on Tuesday?
Well, I'll think of probably something else. Although, as you can see, it's tough to get through even one excerpt with everybody here. We would have been probably getting done right now if the other 3 members of the class had shown up. So thank you, and have a good weekend. Stay warm. I think it's supposed to be in the 40s.
Just to let you know,
Mhm.
I don't know how many of us there are,